Hello, welcome to the Let's Talk About It. It's a new program, it's a new day. I'm your host of the show, and my name is Adam Dirir. Steve, welcome to our new program, Let's Talk About It.
Okay.
You was a veteran journalist and well respected for African diaspora.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to have you
Yeah.
today in our show. First episode, Let's Talk About It.
Okay. Okay.
Steve, tell us who you are.
I was born in Uganda. I've been in the UK for over 30 years now. I've been in the media industry it's coming up to nearly 40 years. I've been as a journalist. I've worked in radio, I've worked in television, and I've worked in print media for the Trumpet, Sound Radio, TV. Now I'm doing a program on Omega TV. But I did work for Ben TV. I did work for Al Jazeera. Small.
So many different projects.
So many different programs that I've worked on. Yeah.
Steve, we will come back from the Europe aspect of working in Europe and to be a journalist in Europe. Back home, what was you doing? What kind of journalism was you doing about?
Well, back home, I was a court correspondent for the newspaper called The New Vision. Okay. And I also worked for the court for some time, but then I started working for New Vision, and it was more or less go and sit around the court and wait for cases. Sometimes we would hear from the clerks and say, there is a major case coming up on Monday. So you go and sit down on the court and wait. And another, when a case comes, especially high-class cases, right, where top criminals or people, all the top stories, and then you rush back to
and
you're
right.
Print
and
it
that
out.
Was the good old days.
Yeah.
Was more printing media.
Yeah, it was good old days, although the money was less, but at the end of the day, the work was good. Everybody was rushing in. It puts you on tension, but one good thing about it is that, okay, the pay was not that very good.
Yeah.
But when you love the job,
yeah,
you can do anything.
But do you get that respect of the communities when you was back home and to be a journalist?
Yeah.
Did you win the heart and the mind of the people who's reading the articles and your stories?
Yeah, the ordinary people, they love the stories.
Yeah.
In fact, some would congratulate you. Yeah. I used to meet people in the street and they said, oh, that story was so good. At one point, when you go to the bar, they even buy you drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they said, look, that's a journalist. You should have talked about this. You should have done this.
Yeah.
So the ordinary people would be happy. But you get the politicians, that's a different story.
When you look back in Africa, they always say the African journalists have to have integrity to be a journalist.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, you have to have that integrity. But then at the same time, what destroys the integrity is, of course, lack of money. In a sense that you, just like anyone else, you want... you like money is so scarce in Africa, and if somebody comes and say, "Well, bribery, do this," that's why most journalists sometimes break away from the integrity and then start, they're earning a bit of money left and right because the pay is not that good. It's not that good. But people like us, we kept our integrity. Obviously, you would look for us to give us money, we wouldn't take the money, but then the editor would probably take the money. And is the story. I've written a story and it never appeared. Yeah. And I kept asking why it didn't. And
you know why?
Yeah, of course I knew why.
You was a young man,
yeah,
come from Africa, being a journalist in Africa, have your integrity in Africa, and then you come to Europe, especially UK, especially London was a metropolitan city.
Yeah.
What image did you have before and after?
Oh, okay. Before, when I'm in Africa, I'm looking at Britain and I'm looking at one of the best countries in the world. And I believe there isn't anything that is wrong here. Everything is done correctly. Everything has to be in a straight line. I never believed that there could be places where the line goes a bit this way. It has to be straight. And when you talk to the white people, for example, or even others, the Indians and so on, and the others who are, as you say, metropolitan, we all come here and there's a lot that you take in. But suddenly you realize that not everything that glitters is gold. It's not gold, diamond or gold. No, it's not. So somewhere along the way, there are certain things which can't happen. For example, there were stories that were meant to print over something that has happened. And you have seen it, or somebody has seen it, he's given you the right story. But when you go to the police or when you go to others to make inquiry, they said, oh, hang on a minute with that. We need to get ABCD right. But then you know the way they have done it is such that you're actually being blocked from saying something. But you would say, no, there's a lot of integrity here, it will go. But then the stories could shift. So you find that things are dealt with in a political correctness because of the laws.
In different ways.
In a different ways. Whereas in Africa, it's a crooked line. You don't do it, forget it.
Simple stuff.
It's a simple stuff. But it's a different matter.
That's a journalism film.
Yeah.
You come to here as a journalist, well respect. How was the job market from Uganda to UK?
Yeah.
How was the job market?
Well, there are two things here which really disturb quite a lot. First of all, because we have the language issue, whereby your accent is not that one of somebody who was born here.
Cockney.
Yeah. So because of that, if you go to ask for a job, or you may write the best story, or you can go to the best radio station and you're presenting a story, or you're even a TV station, but the accent comes in, and somewhere along the way said no, because they are looking for someone who was born here, who has the accent, and they are looking at the British market rather than the African market. Now we managed to go to the African market because my people rather understand me more than even getting a Scottish person, for example. If you start speaking with a Scottish accent, somewhere along the way you won't even understand what he's saying. So similarly, we are drawn into positions of the way we come from. Somebody who speaks Bangladesh will find it much more.
It doesn't matter how much
Somali, everybody goes into their communities, and it becomes much easier than when you go to the mainstream media, for example.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So was it hard to get a job?
It was. But at some point I had to be to shadow somebody. And most of what I saw, for example, I did a bit of work with the Daily Mail and with the Economist. There's a lady I would shadow, but when we sit down to write, she would take most of what I've written down. But in reality, it will be like I've written the story, but she gets the credit for it.
Absolutely.
But the whole point, because I was more involved, I was more experienced than she was. But they said, oh, go and shadow this lady. But when we do the story, we've typed the story, then she gets the credit. And then I said, hang on a minute, but but the problem is that there's something about trustworthy with their person rather than with you. And yet you're in the same medium. I said, we've been together. We've done this together. I said, no, we still need her. You go with her. Now you go shadow her. You are she's shadowing you, or you're shadowing her, or something like that.
So you moved to present different African TVs.
Yeah.
Although you was working at Al Jazeera and producing programs back home. What programs are you working with now?
Well, there's a program I'm working on called Africa Speaks.
Okay.
And it's a political program where I interview politicians and I interviewed ordinary people, and we cover quite a lot about politics, not just in Africa, but here as well. If there is any politicians, like recently we had the Ghanaian president in the country, others interviewed him from Ghana, but then I've had Ugandan politicians, I've got Gambia, I've got Somalia. All the Somalia, they've come on my show. I've interviewed the Somaliland ambassador. So the point is that I look more on Africa because the market of Africa is not covered here. Unless there's something wrong in Africa, like Ebola now. There's a lot about Ebola. There were like AIDS or something. Whenever there's something negative, then the mainstream media will look at Africa.
Was it because you come from Africa? Is it easy for you to do African programs with the African diaspora?
No, I think when you pick a subject, of course, one thing that I realized in this country is that you need always to specialize. Now, if you haven't specialized, I could easily have covered anything. I could cover the court. I could cover maybe the king. I could have, anything about this country. I could go to the museums. I could cover anything. But then I realized that there is a market for Africans because very little of the mainstream is really covering Africa unless there's something wrong in Africa.
And you're in London, so
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure it's one of the largest.
There are so many stories about Africa here.
Yeah, African diasporas.
But the BBC covers Africa, ITV, very, very rare you get stories that are coming. And yet there's people here with stories to tell, so many stories to tell. Yeah. But we can't actually cover all of them. But even on the political side of it, I can't cover everything on politics.
Absolutely.
I covered quite a lot of that.
We have been to Sound Radio. We have been together Sound Radio.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, the African diaspora stories is amazing.
Of course, yeah.
Although we have a different nations, so you have a Kenyan, Tanzanian, Ugandan. Let's talk about East Africa communities. Yeah. And then you have the Asian community, Pakistani, Bangladesh. But to be honest with you, now we feel like we are home away from home.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So there's every community have its own identity.
Yeah.
So do you cover all African diaspora or you cover more Rwandan community, East African?
No, in fact, I cover the diaspora as a whole because I get invited to Nigerians when they have events. I get invited to Ghanaians. I get invited to Egyptians. I get invited to all of them whenever there is anything. When they want it publicized, they want it to be talked about. So I cover everything. And then I'll also try to look at those who are here in the diaspora who are leading communities. I recently looked at the leaders of those who are, for example, Uganda has kingdoms. Yeah. Now the kingdoms of Uganda, Buganda, Bunyoro, and so they have representatives here in the UK. Now I interview them, and the whole idea was to get a proper picture of what they are doing here and how they represent their kings here in the UK. And also looking at Ghana now. See, there are so many small kingdoms in Africa who have stories to tell. How did this kingdom come about? What are they doing? How are they putting their communities together in Africa? And how are they putting their communities here in the UK? Yeah. So small, there are issues which are tribal, there are dancers, there are community leaders who are telling stories of where the originals of Africa come from in terms of culture and in terms of identity.
When we come from the culture-wise and the different stories, your generation is from the start the analog to digital. Now we have a social media play a big part. How do you feel when the social media comes? How did you feel threats? Your job will be lost. How did you see that social media when it comes?
Well, social media has improved the whatever we want to do, and social media has spread it around very quickly in a sense that you can write something today here, and within a couple of hours, it's gone viral. When a few minutes, you've just done it, it goes viral. So everybody gets to know about it. That's the good thing about social media. If something wrong has been done, within hours, people will do. If something good has been done, within hours, people will get to know about it. That's the difference between now and the old time. Also, interpretation of things. Some things are good and some things are bad. So it depends on what good you are putting out there. If you put something bad out there, still people will come up and say, that is quite really bad. It shouldn't have gone out. But at the same time, it has also exposed, for example, corruption in Africa. It has exposed what our expectations were. Where is our money going in taxes, the taxes and all
questions,
that? And people have learned to ask questions. The more people ask questions, maybe the more things are going to be done. Because people used to be silent because we knew nothing. But now people are questioning. And when they question, even the leaders who are sitting uncomfortable.
So it helps, the social media helps to be there and there.
Oh yeah, social media has done
But
quite
they have their own negativity as well. Remember, there's a fake news most of the time. Really,
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake news.
Yes,
You don't know which news is right, which news is not wrong. Do you feel that sometimes?
Yes and no at the same time. Because when something is bad, when something has gone in and it's fake, and then the right thing comes in, and it's said this is fake, because it also brings out somebody to say that is fake. Because, say for example, there were letters that came out from Tanzania about something in Tanzania. And then, of course, the minister came out from Tanzania and said that is fake. He would probably have not have come out to say that is fake had it not been the social media to bring it out. I think even in Malawi, there was another thing that came up. And then even Ebola, for example, in Uganda now and in Congo, several times social media said, well, there are 200 people, blah, blah, blah. And then Congo have come up and said, no, actually, it's not that. Then Ugandans were the figures. They said, look, no, you're getting the figures wrong. Somebody's releasing the wrong information because it's a rumor. It's not these numbers. So at least what social media does, it brings out the truth. Somebody may, if they have the powers, to destroy others or to destroy governments or to destroy anything using that. That's why sometimes government hurry to cut off social media. Yeah, it cut off Facebook, cut off Twitter, TikTok, everything, so that when everything is a blackout,
just block.
It's what's happening in Iran. They block everything out so that you don't get confused. Oh yeah, they've bombed this, they've done this. You get discouraged and you start even undermining your own people. So sometimes it doesn't work in the interest of those in office or even in the interest of the entire country, because you want to have the image of that you are doing okay. Now, if somebody is trying to get you down, then you rather put that person down.
We can agree or disagree. Stephen, we are at the end of the program. As African diaspora, living in UK many years, living in London, what is the most difficult thing you have faced?
Of course, the most difficult thing of all is being accepted to the mainstream, because I fought so hard to be in the mainstream and it never happened. Obviously, like I said before, the language and so on and so forth, that's one thing. The second one is trying to fit in with the others. There are media organizations that are existing here, but if you're not part of the top media groups, I mean, I was a member of the National Union of Journalists, still I am, and there are other organizations. But then the thing is that even when you are part of this organization, sometimes acceptance is the most difficult thing. Maybe it's because of race, or maybe because of anything. I don't want to accuse anybody of this, but
that's the reality.
That's the reality. Acceptance is the major thing. But that's why when there's something that they need you for, then it's quickly for them to say, oh, he's an African, let's call him quickly.
He's an expert.
So he's an expert on that, let's call him. But you feel like, okay, I can also make a comment about the king or the queen or even the prime minister. Why can't I be accepted? You've seen this on Question Times on BBC or any of these major papers. It's acceptance. It's acceptance, which is the key.
Okay.
The biggest challenge.
What's the biggest challenge as an African journalist face with the community?
The biggest, I think, most challenges depend on their own. We are our own failures, or we are our own success. In a sense that if you come to me with a story, and it's a good story, and it's about positiveness of something, somebody else will see it as why are you telling that story? I mean, it's one man's meat is sometimes another man's poison. So there is that basis of lack of unity within us, because lack of unity there creates such a thing that some people are supporting. If we go on the political side, it's even worse. But if we go on everybody's stories out there, you still face challenges in a sense that however good the story is, there is always somebody who feel that it's, you know, that's the challenge you face. Because sometimes you give a very good story and everybody accepts it.
Yeah.
But then again, you're going to hear that even if everybody else,
exactly.
there's always going to be
There will be
somebody who point a finger and say, why did you say that?
Never be happier.
Yeah.
For my last question, if someone want to watch your program or want to follow you, what day is it in the program and where can they watch?
Well, it's every Tuesdays from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Just 1 hour. And you can find it on Facebook. You can see it live on Facebook or live on YouTube or even on the website of Omega TV.
Yeah.
It's a live program, and it's repeated over the weekend. And so if somebody has missed it, there is always a possibility you can see it over the weekend. Or still on Omega TV, or even you go on YouTube. And then, of course, the station, we go to 64, 65 African countries in Africa. We send this live out there. So at the end of the day, because it goes to so many other African countries, especially West African countries, so many people say it. So many people.
You're well known for that. All right. Well, Steve, I don't have so much time, but thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. And we will watch Omega TV. Definitely. We look forward to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
For this episode, I'm saying thanks for Stephen, and my name is Adam Dirir. Let's talk about it. If you have some story you can think about, you can share with us, please send us in tag, our emails, or you can follow me at tag for Twitter, Adam Dirir. Well, thank you very much for this episode today. See you next week, same time, same place. Have a lovely night.